Hey, what's up, guys? Me and my pup Gus here on the couch just wanted to chime in real quick and just share some thoughts from a number of conversations that I had this week with clients, most of which are founders in the first year or two of their business, with some really great product or service that they want to hit the market hard with. And something that comes up time and time again is the challenge of really knowing their audience. And I know that we've all heard this before. Everyone knows that phrase, right? You got to know your audience. But what does that really mean? Well, you got to do an exercise, and not only just identifying like your total addressable market and then who's your sweet spot within there and all those things, but truly understanding them, because you're passionate about this industry. You're passionate about what you're doing, the product or service that you've created, or the problems that you're solving. That's a great place to start, and it's one of the big reasons why you should get into an industry that you truly care about, and not just for the money, but more on that in another video. But as it relates to really understanding your customer and then crafting a message that's so tailored and specific for them so that when the right person hears it, it has an impact on them, versus what I see a lot of people doing. And it's a lot of times it's falling into a trap of doing it, and I've done it too myself. It's not like they're intentionally trying to do the wrong thing, but because as entrepreneurs we're excited that we can maybe there's all these different things that we could do to help people, and maybe we know that our product or service can solve a lot of different problems. Sometimes we end up getting kind of scatterbrained. They're spread a little too thin, and we try to be too many things for too many different people. And the reality is the best place to start is to focus and dial in and know one group of people extremely well and how you're able to help them. And to take that a step further, not just knowing your audience, but understanding them, understanding the industries that you're in, industries that you're in, understanding their business, understanding the individual or the people and their day-to-day, their daily challenges. What are they accountable for in their roles? And the better that you're able to do that, and by the way, this should be an ongoing process of discovery. You'll learn through your discovery calls, you'll learn through networking, or I highly recommend, I have all my clients do an exercise where they'll reach out to people they already know in their network who might fit the bill, or be able to refer them to someone who can, just so that they can have a conversation. Get on the phone and say, hey, in day in the life, what are the things that you really do care about? What are the things that are really problems for you or challenges for you? Because as an entrepreneur or product developer or whatever, or sales rep, you might have an assumption that but until you have that conversation with them, we're not certain. So the best way to know if you're really solving the right problems is just talk to the person, talk to that end customer. So what this also does is it makes your customer or your client really feel like you care and that you just get it. Right? People want to talk to someone who just kind of gets them. They just understand them. Like, oh man, you know what it's like to be in my shoes. You felt the pain of what it's like to, be an HR manager at a company where you're constantly chasing people down to get something done by a certain compliance deadline, right? Or you know what it's like to be a CFO who's got a CEO who wants to go buy up the world, and the CFO is trying to be disciplined and watch costs. So it's like everyone has their sort of relative pain points, and then tailored to their world or their industry. That's what you want to really understand. And then once you've got a really good grasp of that, then we want to start crafting our message. And within the crafting of your message is you want to practice how it's going to be delivered for different audiences or at different parts of the sales process. So there's a different type of communication if you're trying to secure a meeting, or if you're doing some, cold calling or biz dev or networking, and you want to be able to then practice that next message or that next type of conversation for when you're starting to run discovery calls and doing a needs analysis, or when you're starting to present or go through a demo. Another thing I always recommend clients do is go through an exercise of having different stories or ways to explain what you do for different audiences. A lot of times if you have a very technical product, it's great to figure out how can you kind of dumb it down for the rest of us to understand what your product does or what problems it solves on a more basic level, or a level that's quick to understand. We don't need to know all the technical components of this brilliant software you've built. We really need to know on a more layman's level, what are the problems that it's solving? right? What are the benefits? How is it really going to impact my business? So coming up with and then practicing your delivery of these different messages is going to help make sure your message really lands. And then especially because you've known your audience, or you're working to know your audience, it lands for the right people. So that's what I would strongly recommend. Even if you think you've done this should be an ongoing thing. Continue to think about who's your ideal customer, what industry, what business size, what are the challenges, what are the things that they experience or they're accountable for on a day-to-day. Really knowing your audience from that level and that deep understanding, and then crafting your message accordingly and then practicing it so you deliver it and it lands when you have the opportunity.